Hi, Princess. Right, I'm just waiting for everybody to get on. Hope you're all right. 7 people. Hi. Hello, you all right? Right, so it's a bit dark because I can't be bothered to get out my big studio light. Right. So today is all about how to make the... Hi, Angela. Hi. I'm just going to keep saying hi. Hi. Right, today is all about making the pad for a crossbody strap. You can easily feed it in and out. So it's really easy to make. It's a fast make as well. So once you've made your template, the template will be there for life unless you have a wider strap. So the template instructions are in the blog post, which after the Facebook Live I will actually let's get this right. There you go. Right, I will in the Facebook Live, at the end of the Facebook Live, I will actually put the blog post. Yeah, that's it. Right, so at the end of the Facebook Live, I will put the blog post is how to make the actual start to finish, which is to make your pattern piece, which is your template, and then to make the how to make it. But this is quick instructions on how to make the template. So you get a piece of A4 and you fold it into quarters. And you give it a really good crease. How's Fred? Fred's still got a cough. That's me. If anybody's new to the group, I'm Fred because I can't say Fred. So they call me Fred. Yeah. Hi, Liz. Right. So the pattern. If I just bring you up a bit. Right, so the pattern, where I've done the creases, you need to actually make the crease marks. Yeah, so basically on the crease marks, you actually just draw a cross and you work from that. So the first measurement you need to do is from the centre vertical line, and you need to measure 3.5 inches that way. And then 3.5 inches that way, and you need to draw 2 lines. Then from the horizontal line, let's turn that down. Right, from the horizontal line, you need to measure down 1.5 inches down, and then 1.5 inches up. Then from these outer lines here, you need to measure 1 inch on either side to add that extra bit for the curve. Then you need to actually draw from the centre down to the first bottom line to make your curve. Then my advice is, with your paper scissors, is to cut on that bit there, cut that bit there, and then you're just going to cut just this line here and that curve to start off with. Like I say, this is all explained in the instructions on the blog on how to do this, and this is for 1 inch to 1.5 inch strap. Right, so now you've got that bit there. This is where your main template curve comes from. So you fold that in half and then you draw around this part of the template here. So I'll just quickly do that. So now I've got the curve line there. So you cut the rest of this bit here, like so. Not the best cutting out. And cut up from this half. Hi Laurie, you alright? Hope you're well. Right, so and then basically you get that bit of the template, fold it up, or whichever way you want to go, and draw around the complete template, and then you cut that out. So you'll end up with a piece like that. That's your main template. This will produce the full piece, will produce the whole body piece. That's the front and the back. And then what you need to do is, where those two lines are on the end, to fold those in, and this will come what we call the tube, the collar, which is this bit here, the bit that makes where basically the sleeve that the strap feeds through. So from your fabric you'll need, hi Susan, you're right. Right, you'll need two main body pieces, so that's for your front and back, and you'll need to interface them. I've used G700 Viseline or Viseline Viseline. I've used Viseline onto the back, but you don't have to use G700 as long as it's a medium weight interfacing. The next one that I've done is post-it note worked. Susan, you said you were going to do a post-it note on your laptop. The next thing, gin. You're on gin now, are you? It's that bad, is it, low? The next things you need to cut out are your two collar or sleeve bits, and you'll need to interface both of those. And obviously you'll need some bias binding. I've got some pre-made bias binding, but it's up to you, you can make it. There is a video on my YouTube, which I will put a link to, showing you how to make bias binding for piping, which is kind of the same kind of theory. Hi Wendy. And then the other piece you'll need is a bit of foam, or some people are saying, do I have to use foam? No, you don't have to use foam, but if you're going to use fusible fleece, my advice is you'll need two pieces of fusible fleece to give it that paddedness, and you'll need to fuse both pieces of the body pieces. Right, so I'm going to start, and I'm going to move the camera down. Fingers crossed you can get this. So what is everybody sewing, and how is everybody using their time? Because at the moment we're still indoors. Be nice to know. And how is everybody mentally wise? Well, I'm mental. Yeah, okay, you don't need to answer that or low. But I mean mental health wise, so you're keeping busy and keeping sane. Right. Let me just tilt that down a bit. Right, I'm just making sure I've got the right camera angle before we go any further. That's better. Right, so the first thing you need to do, making bags for nurses' uniforms. Yeah, I saw John Lowe put something on Facebook from his friend, and anybody that's got a spare half a metre of fabric to make some drawstring bags, because some hospitals don't have facilities for washing the scrubs, and they're having to at least change their scrubs 3 times a day at the moment. So, and they're having to take them home. So if anybody can spare 5 minutes making a quick drawstring bag for John's friend and sending it off to John, will be much appreciated. I'm making one tomorrow. I'm doing it for I'm just sending mine off to John, and John's friends distributing all the drawstring bags to all the nurses and the doctors. So yeah, that'd be nice of people to actually do that. Right, so back to the tutorial. Wrong side facing down onto your foam. I'm going to choose this one. Right. And you're going to pin it into place. And you're going to pin it all the way around. Like I say, this is actually really easy and quick make, and anybody that, even if you don't make a bag but you buy a bag from a company and it's digging into your shoulder, you can at least try and make one of these. It's really simple. So I'm going to sew all the way around on the outer edge of the fabric, and I'm going to sew 1/4 inch away from the fabric. And I'm just using a basting stitch of a stitch length 4.5. Is anybody actually making scrubs? There is a Shropshire group, Becky Foother. Is there, Jenny? Jenny, can you private message me the link, and maybe I can send them a few? Because I've always got a few bits of spare fabric. Right, so I'm just going all the way around, making sure I'm sticking to 1/4 inch away from the edge, because you don't want to see this stitching when you've actually come to put the binding on, unless you want to unpick it. 2 fat quarters will work, yep, definitely. I've got plenty of those actually, to be fair. Right, so the next thing you need to do is, with your foam scissors, a bluntish pair of scissors, you need to cut all the way around. Normally I get you to cut to the sewn based line, but this time I'm actually going to get you to cut to the edge of the fabric. Lo, I didn't even know you had a competition on. Right, Lo, after the Facebook Live, you can post about the competition in the group if you want to, hun. Hi, Denise. Hope you're making more commuter bags. How many have you made now? 2 or 3? You're welcome, Lo, anytime. You only need to ask, Lo. I don't buy. All I can say is no if I don't want you to. But yeah, go. You can post as much as you want, because I love your jewellery. So right, so I've put the back part on. I'm going to flip it over and pin on the front part. And you've got to make sure it's practically meeting all the way around, that it's basically spot on. Right, so, and once again, I'm just going to base stitch all the way around, 1/4 of an inch away from the edge. My machine's developed a bit of a squeak here, so I think I'm going to have to take it apart and oil it. Actually, to be fair, I can't remember the last time I cleaned it, so... Hi, Lynn. So who's managed to get their grocery food delivered? Because I'm on practically every day trying to get a slot for the delivery, but no joy. We have food, it's just there's a few. Hi Karen. Have left husband digging in the garden to come and watch. Yeah, just Karen, let him dig. Keeps him occupied. Right, so I'll tell you something. Normally I don't mind not having a garden, but at the moment I am missing having a garden. Yeah, so yeah, because we live in an apartment and it's, yeah, try local catering. Yeah, try local catering supply company rang our local one today and deliver on Monday. No, that's a good point. Yeah, might try that. I know our local butchers, Jackson Butchers, are doing meat and general stuff. So yeah, tidying my garden this morning. Yeah, see, you all got gardens. It's not fair. Right, so I'm going to pop this piece to one side. Got both sides sewn on and the pad in the centre. We're going to move over to the collar. So you're going to pop your two pieces right sides together, and we're just going to sew down the two short sides. I managed to get a slot for today from Asda. Don't know how. I was told you not trying for ages. Yeah, we managed to get a delivery last week, but after last week we couldn't get another slot. But doesn't matter. The shops are still serving, just, yeah, don't want to really go out. Right, so need to sew down the two short sides, and you're sewing 1/4 of an inch down on both sides. I'm making my stitch length back, dropping my stitch length back to 2.4 or 2.5 depending on what machine you're using, and reversing my stitch. And I'm just repeating the other side. I waited until after midnight on Asda, but I've been able to do an Aldi shop. My sister did Amazon Prime with Morrison's delivery. Yeah, a lot of people are saying do Amazon Prime with Morrison's delivery. Yeah. Right, so you're gonna turn it right side facing out, and this point you will take it to your iron and give it a good press. I'm just gonna finger press it or roll it. I'm just going to roll those because I forgot to get my iron out. Right. Right, so you need to top stitch 1/8 of an inch away from both of those edges. I'm sticking to a stitch length 2.4, and I'm not reversing my stitches. Susan, my roller is from a Cricut machine. No, I'm not going to lose that roller for. I do have one of those little minor little clover ones. Not here at my studio at mum and dad's. But I've started using my Cricut one, which is like it does the job. It saved getting the iron out when I was quilting the other day. Oh, okay. There you go. Aldi was easy. I was so anxious about going. Left teens in the car park. They had to help carry to the car. Yeah, Louise, it's the same with me. Basically, me and my husband are self-isolating at the moment because we've had coughs and shown some of the symptoms. So by Wednesday we are allowed out. Because we've only just got the coughs now and not the high temperatures or the itchy eyes. And we, yeah, so I'm a bit anxious to go into our local supermarket. But apparently, according to my sister, they have got quite a good system at the one supermarket. Yeah, I think Denise, I think I'm going to have to do that. I think I'm going to have to just log in at 12 o'clock. I'm logging in at like 12:30 when all the slots are completely gone. So, yeah, I think I might have to do that. Lo, you're turning into a fat alcoholic. So I can use my elbow to press. I'm thinking about one of those rollers for paint. Yeah, what they use, vinyl cutting, vinyl painting. Yeah, you can easily, Sharon. It's just the weight you need. This is quite a heavy weight, this one is, so yeah, something like that. You can use what they use in primary schools and stuff like that, and secondary schools. Okay, so the next bit of the tutorial is choose which way you like best. I'm gonna have this complete peacock on the bottom, and you're going to have to place this on top, so you need to fold this in half and find the center top and center bottom. Hi Anne. So find the centre top and centre bottom, and you need to repeat the same for the collar or the sleeve. And using some wonder clips, we're going to match up the two centre halves. So I go for the centre bottom, centre bottom of both pieces, and pop a clip, and same again. And now what we're going to do is just base stitch this sleeve into place within the 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm just cranking my stitch length up to a 4.5. And the same again on the other side. Right, the next step is to do your binding. Right, so you can use pre-made binding or you can make your own. Like I said, with... Oh, did you get yours? Yeah, Susan, Paula is holding on to mine for a little while because normally I have everything sent to my mum and dad's. So, but obviously I don't want to put them at risk or anything. So, right, so you can use pre-made binding or you can actually make your own binding. To make your own binding, it's pretty simple. You need to cut it on the 45-degree angle of your fabric against the selvage to selvage, the straight or grain. I have got a tutorial on how to cut the binding, and I will basically pop a link into my into the feed afterwards once I've finished filming this. Right, so I've got double fold binding, and what we're going to do is start this way. Right, we're going to overlap quite a bit at the start, and we're going to pop the binding on. Now I find that clipping the binding all the way around was best for me, so I'm going to do that. I'm just going around the corners. If you need to snip slightly into your binding, you can do to make it neat around that corner. You shouldn't have to if you've cut it on the binding, on the bias of the fabric. Right, just bear with me. I'm quite slow at this. I'm not the world's best person to do binding. So, so what is everybody making at the moment? I'm finishing off the quilt, and I'm going to write a blog about it because the blog will tell you a story about why I started the quilt 2 years ago. And I'll tell you something, the quilt that you guys have been seeing in the group that I've been doing has been quite a lot of therapy for me over the last few days, well, this past week. But however, I have started writing. So, confession, I can't release any brand new patterns at the moment because unfortunately I do all my templates on my dad's computer because he's got some special software. So I'm having to do all the ones that have been on Sewing Quarter, and the next one will be the higher class bag, and it is slightly changed from how I'm finishing making the tool wallet. I'm actually finishing it off slightly different. So at the moment, the higher class bag is assembled with bias binding to finish it off inside. I'm going to actually make it like the commuter backpack, which is basically saving you 1/2 meter of fabric. So, and we can do with saving some money at the moment, can't we? So yeah, so I'm rewriting the instructions up for those, and next week I'm going to start photographing the step-by-step instructions. And then following next Saturday will be the free pattern that's coming out, which is the satchel kind of, the satchel bag, which is the book bag. No, it's my favourite word. Sorry, is one of my favourite words. I say it quite often. Right, so back to the tutorial. I've clipped up to the end of "You are therapy to be able to see you live. I live on my own." Oh, Anne, you can always message. I'm doing it twice a week at the moment, so I'm doing one in the week in one of the evenings, and we're just generally just having a chit chat. I'm making you guys laugh. I know I made a fool of myself last on Wednesday, but Anne, you're more than welcome to just keep rewatching all the videos. I'll be putting my YouTube link on, and there is another video coming out next week on how to install bag feet with my droney voice. Right, so I've done the binding to the last part of the last curve of the body, and I'm going to start around about here. So where that crease is, does it feel strange talking to yourself when you're doing the video? Yeah, it did at first, Princess. I know we're here, but you're not having convo with us. Yeah, Princess, it was at first. Very, very earlier on in November when I first started these, it was. But I think I like the sound of my voice. Right, so I'm gonna sew in the ditch here where the first crease is nearest the outer edge, and I'm going to start just where that first curve is. Now at this point you might want a stiletto, or you might want a stiletto. I don't have a stiletto, I have a tailor's awl. It's because just to hold down your fabric as you're going around. So just dropping my stitch length to a 2.4, sorry. And I'm going to reverse my stitch a bit here at the start. And I'm going around really slowly. As you can see, and don't know if you can actually really physically see this, see if I can get you closer. As you can see, I've got a bit of a gaverage going up here. I'm hoping you can see that. Yeah, I've got a bit of a gaverage. I'm just going to lift up my needle and move the binding just slightly so it naturally gets all the creases out. And I'm just going to carry on sewing around for a little short while. Same again. Lift up your presser foot. Quite difficult going around a corner, I know that, but you will get there. Just take 3 or 4 stitches at a time, lift up your presser foot. Now someone asked if earlier on in the week, can we make this out of PU leather? Yeah, I would say you can make the actual pad and the sleeve part out of PU, but I would still use fabric for your binding. Right, so I've just done that one curve. I'm going down the straight. I'm still stitching in that ditch where that crease was. Right, needle down again. and just the last bit of the corner to do. Now you might get a few puckers, that's fine, don't worry about that. You can iron those out, finger press those out at the end. The whole point of a shoulder pad is basically to take the discomfort away from a heavy bag, especially a crossbody bag. Right, and I've just finished going past that last corner, so I'm going to reverse my stitches and take that out. Right. Now I have got a few puckers, but don't worry about it. Now if you notice, I've started from the top of the actual pad. I've started from the top because it doesn't matter what your binding's like underneath, because that's the bit that goes on top of your shoulder anyway. Right, so the next thing you need to do is finish off the binding. So I'm going to trim the end binding where I started sewing at the start, and then I'm hoping you can see that bit. So I've just trimmed it from where I actually started sewing. Just making sure you catch up. That's it. So I've trimmed it where I started sewing, and now I'm going to open it up and fold that back to the wrong side by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to finger press it, but you can iron it. Then the start part of your binding, we're just going to overlap just slightly, going over the end part of the binding, and we're going to trim that back to 1 inch away from the end part of the binding. Doesn't have to be neat, it can be rough. So you should have an overlap of 1/2 inch, 1 inch, shall I say. So your folded part of the binding has to go down first onto the pad. I'm just going to clip that into place. Then your start of the binding has to go on top of that 1/2 inch fold, like so. And then what we're going to do is just go from where I finished sewing from on that last corner and just sew to the start and reverse my stitches. So we're just going to finish sewing the binding to the actual strap, the pad. Right, so the next thing you need to do is just pull back your binding, and we're going to trim this by 1/4 inch all the way, well, just up to 1/4 inch. So I'm going to go in between 1/8 and 1/4 inch. We're just going to take away some of that bulk. Now, if you've come halfway through, don't worry, I'll be putting this onto YouTube later today. Just takes some time to download. You said thank you. Oh, Anne, you're very welcome. I don't mind doing the live videos as long as I'm healthy. And yeah, I couldn't have done them last week. We were coughing. We weren't 100% at all. Both me and my husband, so Now, we don't know if we had it, but we were showing symptoms, and it's just best to go by the guidelines of the government at the moment. If you're showing symptoms, stay indoors, away from everybody else. Right, so I've trimmed all the way around, and now we're just going to flip it to the back, like so. Okay, not the best of sewing today. And then you're just going to get your clips. Now you will have to fold it slightly on the corners. But like I say, this is the back bit. You don't really mind the back bit. You're doing that on the back bit. Because the back bit, that's the bit that lies on your shoulder anyway. So now to make bigger ones for likes of 2-inch straps, wide straps, you will need to figure out the measurements yourself. But if you are still struggling to figure out the measurements for your template, don't hesitate, just message me. You know I can work it out if you give me a day. Honestly, really don't mind. Anytime, just ask. And if loads of people ask, I will just do a quick blog post of how to make a bigger template. So from the top side, you're going to sew just under about 1/16 away from where the original fold is here. So we're sewing on the actual binding, so that just makes sure we're actually catching the back. So if I just do that, yeah, Anne, we're like a big family. You're all right. I don't like negativity in the group, and me and the admin always get rid of any negativity and stuff. Yeah, so we are like one big family, and yeah, you're all right. Yeah, everybody needs to stay safe because we're all family. So and I'll tell you something, without you guys, I wouldn't have a product. I wouldn't have RJF Makes, my pattern design, so I've got to look after you guys. Oh, I really need to... Can anybody else hear the squeak on my sewing machine? I really do need to take this apart in a bit. I think I know what it is. It's the best group to get help, have a chat and never think, oh no, you are right there, Susan, never think you're alone. Yep, right, and let me pop you back to normal. Hopefully you can see me, because there's a 20-minute delay, a 20-second delay. Right, let me just get this strap out. Right, so now you should have a pad, finished pad, and I'm hoping it's a bit bright. Not that bright, is it, today? Note to self, get the studio light out next time. Right, so your pad should be finished, and you should be able to just feed in your strap, like so. There you go. And there you go, you've got a finished strap shoulder pad. Simple as that. It is so simple, easy to make. You can make it for, like I say, you don't have to, no cleavage today, no. Yeah, so you can make this for your bags that you've brought from the shops, if the straps are digging into you. Like I say, you can make it out of practically any fabric, apart from the binding bit needs to, the binding bit needs to be basically fabric, and it has to be the width of binding that I've said in the actual blog post. Like I say, anybody can make these. It's so simple, it's basic, it's not even really bag related. Yeah, so what, her cleavage? Denise, Lyra's taking the mick out of me the other day. Lyra's funny. So yeah, if you have any questions, and I haven't answered any of the questions that you've asked, I will get back and answer everything later on this afternoon. Yeah, for those people that were concerned about my dry skin, which everybody else is having, I've got stuff now for it, and it is getting loads better. It was turning into a burn at one point, like where it was scarring, and I think I have got 2 scars coming now on my wrists. So yeah, no, it will get there. I would like to thank you. Yeah, I think free tutorials is going to be the way, Angela. Everybody's helping people get through everything. Yeah, but like I say, this group is here for everybody. This group is for everybody that wants to let off steam, but not in a negative way, as in just, yeah, it's a hard time that we're going through, but don't worry, everybody's going through the same thing. Yeah, and I'm always there. I can always chat. I might not always. I am trying to stay off social media quite a lot. Like, my anxiety was out the roof last week. My husband was at the bare end of it, so sorry, Michael. But yeah, so I am trying to stay off social media. So if you private message me, you can. Yeah, coconut oil has worked for me, but it stung at first, Susan. So I had to. I brought some ointments now, and hopefully that will work. Some beeswax and stuff. Right. So next week, on Wednesday, in the evening, it'd just be a general chit chat. Me sewing, doing whatever, and you can ask any questions that you want regarding the any patterns, even if it's about your sewing machine. And then on next Saturday will be the sew along for the book bag, which was an old sewing quarter bag. And I'm going to actually make a smaller version, because some people have been asking for a smaller version, and there will be a blog post in the week for the mini size, so for the smaller size. The large size holds quite a wide ring binder. The small one will hold up to an A4 ring binder, and not an A4, a smaller ring binder, and a thinner ring binder. So yeah, So in the week, another blog post will go up regarding the new measurements that I've worked out and how much fabric. So yeah, thanks ever so much for joining us, and see you all next week. Bye!